Welcome to the Dream Big Summit. Here today with an amazing guest, Ashana Solaris. She is a friend that I've known for a long time, 27 years, I believe, as long as she's been doing this breath work. And we all started out when we were in our 20s, but here we are now in our mature years, and we have continuously worked, and she's done this branching out and doing worldwide trainings now with people to teach them how to teach other people how to do the breath work, how to go through breath into ecstasy, how to take breath into your deeper levels of trauma, of shadow work, of transformation, and into ecstasy. So her company that she's a co-founder of Clarity Breath Work, that she co-founded with Dana, has been working for that length of time. And let me read this to you. This Clarity Breathwork is a gentle, nurturing, feminine approach to healing, transformation, and embodiment. And it's not about getting out into the head, and breath especially has a way of bringing us through and bring the light through into the body. So I want to talk with her about techniques we can glean from our interview with her today that we can take home. And then in the second segment, maybe some deeper stories as to what breath can reveal, like past lives, like increased ecstasy, maybe intimacy, all sorts of things that are associated with greater aliveness. She is teaching these breath workshops all over America, all over the world, takes them internationally, retreats, as well as one-on-one sessions, releasing blocks, opening to people's greater potential, and becoming leaders and change makers themselves. She has been working for the last 26 years and plus integrating all these different healing modalities such as light body work, Reiki work, energy healing, somatic experiences, ritual, dance, and inner and outer movement. She is dedicated to making a difference on this planet and bringing the full potential of other people about, which she really, really, really does. I've seen her students. She's come to Bali. We've met her there, her and her co-teacher with whom she's running the company, Dana. And so it's Ashana here today, and I'm super excited, Ashana, to see you because we are both so busy in our lives. We do occasionally once a year get to tap in, but I want to hear everything that you can share with our audience about how to become more ecstatic, more awake through breath work. Thank you, Ashana.
Hi, Ilona. It's
Hi.
Really great to be with you. And yeah, it's a momentous time. It's a huge momentous time. I'm up here at Mount Shasta. We just taught all 4 levels of our Clarity Breathwork training, and it was off the charts. Incredible to watch people come in the door and then go through what many said was the most transformative experience of their entire lives, and come out the other side in their enthusiasm, in their leadership, in their aliveness, in their greater vision and connection to everything. It was so exciting, and so exciting to do it in Mount Shasta because it's such a powerful
portal,
vortex.
Yeah.
And we do this all over the world, as you know, in different vortexes like Bali and Ibiza, Spain, and Pachamama in Costa Rica.
Mm-hmm.
And every place has its unique energy that breathes us. It's like the Earth Mother herself is calling us to these vortex centers to do this work of awakening, not just for ourselves, but for our ancestors. There's incredible ancestral healing for the Earth herself, for the greater world. It's just, it's miraculous and phenomenal, and I'm so blessed to get to be part of it.
Thank you. Thank you for taking your time out after this nonstop marathon you just went through. And today what I'm hoping to get, so first of all, I want to tell everybody, up here is a free gift where you can get a session on audio with Ashana guiding you through a breath session. When you sign up for through the link up there, you get it as a download. So thank you very much for offering that. I love practical tools we can take home, and maybe we can glean some techniques you can share with us that we can do shorter ones that aren't all out. Yes, awesome.
Yes.
So tell me when you went through it yourself, obviously your first session, second session, something potent that you experienced that was a breakthrough for you in your recognition as to how far breathwork can take you. and what the transformation was that you experienced as a result of it.
Mm. Well, I've experienced so many transformations, and I have so many incredible, juicy stories. But the one that comes to mind when you're asking me is I was breathing at the Maui Prince Hotel back in the early 90s with Sandra Ray.
Yes.
And we were doing a workshop on immortality and
Yes.
physical health and vitality. And I was breathing. And a spiritual master, I saw him in my inner awareness, Babaji, Sandra Ray's master, came to me and said, I want you, and I could see hands all over the world reaching up. And I want you to go around the world, to travel around the world and to bring breath work and light body and energy healing and consciousness to all these people. And I could see these thousands of people's hands up in the air like this. And I was processing, and I was crying, and I said, I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. And I saw him he just walked away, and he said, okay, fine, I'll find somebody else.
Yeah.
And he started walking away in my inner vision. And I said, wait, this is what I was born for. This is what I'm here to do. And he came back and he rolled up his sleeves and he said, then let's get to work.
Oh my God, I get chills.
Isn't it amazing? And then 20 something years later, I travel around the world, and we do this a lot. All of our groups have their hands up in the air. And I feel like I'm doing what I was asked to do and what I was born to do, and that I'm helping other people to have the courage and the self-worth to answer the call of what they're here and born to do.
Yes, yes, yes. And that's why I wanted you on the show, because I am sure that there are, I was going to say, thousands of listeners who have, out of their sense of calling, a connectedness to being here for a purpose, a sense for why that they are here for a purpose, and that they want to express that, learn modalities that helps them to become a facilitator for others, first of all. So, wow, that is so potent. Actually, Dr. Vern Wolf had a vision. He's on our speakers list. He had a vision where in his dreams, he saw all these hands reaching out, groping for help. And he was like, yeah, picked. Okay, you go teach them. Here's a technique. And it truly is a collaboration between the inner worlds that's looking for us as much as we're always going, hey, let me serve. It's like, yes, we need someone. We need,
right.
You're ready.
And, when we're open, Ilona, and we do the work to clear out the layers of our own material, and it's not that hard to clear out the layers of what's in the way, especially when you have a profound tool like the breath. Because the breath is an accelerated way to clear through shadowy material where we got stuck in our birth process, and it has a lot to do with clearing just how we came into a body in the first place. Because many of us got stuck at the very beginning and traumatized from the birth experience, and then you have all of our childhood experiences. And so I had a vision one day that I'm here to work with the angels that came into bodies, but many of those angels are frozen in big ice cubes of trauma, and so they can't do what they came here to do. And the breath melts the freeze so that we can come fully into our lives and then bring all of the gifts that we've gleaned over lifetimes. Bring all of those gifts here now. And this is the time, as you know, we planted the seeds 20-something years ago.
Yeah.
But this is the time that we were born for. And this is the time that we're here to gather together around the world with healing modalities and consciousness raising tools to raise the vibration.
Right. So you're saying breath can be a tool to work through the shadows. So can you walk us through how that looks like and why that works?
Breath, to me, is one of the most profound tools that we have, and it's right under our nose. And most of us don't breathe fully. We hold the breath, and we've been holding the breath since the first breath, when for many of us, the cord was cut too soon. We were turned upside down and
smacked
with the breath in the body. And so the greatest mammalian terror is to not be able to breathe. So many of us froze right there at the beginning and didn't feel welcomed and wanted. When we bring awareness to that, when we bring awareness to what we call the birth script, and we talk about it and we show phenomenal films in our trainings of births, we start to repattern a birth where we're welcomed, where it's known that we're coming, where we can be conscious coming all the way into life, bringing these gifts. So we talk about it and then we breathe into it, and it completely transforms. People have brand new experiences in their inner journeys and begin whole new lives. So simply by putting our attention on whatever it is we need to clear, the trajectory through the womb, the trajectory with our mothers, with our fathers, the trajectory around sexuality, around relationship. These are all tracks that with the breath work, we go through a journey and we clear the way so that really the soul level can come into all those areas of our lives. And that's what we're here for, is to bring the soul all the way here into every aspect of our lives.
Yes, yes, yes. So when people breathe, they obviously hyperoxygenate their brain, for example, their cellular body. Where is trauma stored, and what does oxygen do to that?
Well, trauma is really stored in the nervous system in a lot of ways, and it's just stored in our bodies. And so what they're discovering in therapy right now is that we don't heal through the mind alone. We don't heal through talking about it. We don't heal through traditional therapy. It can be useful, but we can actually get stuck in the looping of our stories. What the breath does is it takes us down to a embodied cellular experience where we're literally cleaning out the cells of our body. We're allowing our nervous system to complete the fight, flight, freeze programs, which is essential to healing. And then we're accessing higher consciousness, because the breath is a bridge to our higher consciousness. In many languages, the word for breath is the same as the word for spirit. We know pranayama from India. We know the didgeridoo from New Zealand. Many ancient techniques are about breathing in the circular connected breath through the body. We get more awake, more alive, more ecstatic. We may go through and feel our pain, our blockages, the places we got stuck, but then we quickly move through those experiences into expansion of consciousness.
It's almost like oxygen is like a brush, like this, I can see it almost like a little cleansing.
It is.
Wind coming through, scrubbing all the memories, the neurological embeddedness that have gotten, like you said, frozen, and release it and repattern it with, I love how you are introducing different images around birth conditions and repatterning the mind to a more positive imprint. So you cleanse out the negative, you repattern the positive. And then, of course, your subconscious mind starts going, oh, that's the new imprint. And then it just runs a new groove, right?
It starts to create a completely new groove. And we can do this in private one-on-one sessions. But what we're finding is that in the groups that we're leading around the world, when we do it in a group together with other people, that we're literally healing the interference to our natural mammalian capacity to bond.
Yeah.
This is a source of tremendous pain all over the planet, is this disconnection from each other.
Yeah.
And this difficulty in bonding and connecting. And a lot of that came from pre-verbal early experiences that we have to go back and meet with a lot of love, a lot of tenderness, a lot of care. And this nurturing feminine approach, I feel, just has the capacity. It's like the mother is coming in, the healed mother, the holy mother is coming in and helping her children to heal and to be able to connect with each other. And when we can connect with each other, we're really unstoppable. We can really turn things around as a species.
Yes. When we actually, and they've done studies like what it means to be a human, in that researchers or anthropologists studied that tribe that was always holding the babies for a year on their arms. They didn't have war.
Right.
It's like she studied the Ashuas and Shuas, and so she discovered that this bonding behavior, the continuum process, it's called, has a lot to do with how peaceful we are as a being. If we bond, we don't want to hurt the parents or anybody else. We just care and give. So
right, and many times, especially in New Age consciousness, we're working on having higher thoughts. We want more ecstasy in our lives. We want more light. But the more that we bring in the light and the ecstasy, the more it can light up these very early places where, for example, the continuum concept, she talked about, they they brought cribs down to South America to put the babies in. And the people were shocked. And they said, why would you ever put your baby in a prison?
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
Yeah.
And so many of us in the West were raised in this separation, being alone in a room, often being left to cry, not being held like they are in Bali. Also, they're not put down for the first 9 months. In all indigenous cultures where I've traveled, the baby is on the mama or the papa or the auntie, learning about how things work.
Yeah.
And in Western culture, we don't get to learn. We're very isolated. And then we have, as a result, we have low self-esteem, we have low confidence.
Exactly.
And they don't, like the Dalai Lama said, right in the East, like we don't suffer with self-hatred. And they couldn't understand.
Right.
How do we suffer with that?
Yeah.
Well, many of us were separated from the very beginning and felt abandoned from the very beginning of life.
Yeah. So do you find then, when you look at your people that you've trained and who've gone through the stages and the different training modalities that you offer, from beginning to end to years later, do you see their evolution? Do you see their self-esteem growing, their capacity?
It's extraordinary what we see. It's extraordinary to see the transformation that people go through. And they may leave a job that was stifling. They may leave a relationship that was stifling. And often they either evolve the life that they have and take that to a whole nother level, or they go through a big transformation and then they're living the life of their dreams. And I've seen it again and again, and it happened to me as well.
Yeah.
And it's miraculous.
Awesome. When people start breathing, when they do it, can they do it alone? Can we do something that we can start with here? Or do they have to go to an all-out seminar? Can we get started in small steps to be
Absolutely. I mean, 20 breaths a day is a great practice, or there's 108 breaths to joy is another great practice. But it's a circular, connected breath.
Okay.
And so you relax your jaw and open your mouth. It's through the mouth because we get greater oxygen that way. Yeah. And we're just going to breathe. I'll show you and the viewers the breath so that they can practice it right now. Because even if you change one breath, you can change your whole life. And we call it an aha breath. So it's like a silent ah on the inhale and a silent ha on the exhale. That's it. You already look even more beautiful just taking that breath. So it's all the way in and all the way out. And you can keep doing that for 10 breaths, 20 breaths. And it automatically starts to calm the nervous system. It starts to bring in more oxygen. You start to feel tingly and alive in your body. Yeah. And I like to also, bring the chakras in, bring the energy centers in, so that we're breathing all the way from our root chakra. And we're grounded and connected into Mother Earth through our root chakra.
Right.
And we're bringing up the energy of the earth, into our roots, up through our second chakra, infusing our sensuality and sexuality. And you asked if it can improve your sex life. Absolutely. Because it can clean out the old patterns that people have had, the conditioning around sexuality that's limited us. And it helps you get in touch with the living temple that you are, the living goddess that's here in this body.
Oh, beautiful.
It up through the power center, accessing our power, our capacity to dream big, as you named your book, the capacity to create a new reality. When we claim our power, when we let go of the victim or the poor me or the I can't, and we get in touch with the I can, united with the divine.
I can, personal will with divine will.
Personal will with divine will. And then we breathe it up through our hearts. So you can do it, the viewers can do it, and the lungs are seen as the wings of the heart. And so when we breathe, we expand the wings around the heart, and we start to open to flow. Love, forgiveness happens, compassion happens, greater intimacy and depth happens. We can meet the divine Mother, Father in our own hearts because they're already here with us.
We start opening.
We start opening.
Opening
through the throat, our expression, our communication, what we're here to say,
Yeah.
our third eye, our vision, what we're here to bring forth in our vision. And of course, all the way up with the breath to the crown, where we access infinite consciousness itself that is continuously pouring into us.
Beautiful. So what do you do as your own personal practice every day?
I think what I just described to you is exactly what I do. Is I integrate it with my light body. So I use the breath to open my lower chakras, to breathe the breath out through my arms and hands, up through the top of my head, fountaining out into my energy field. And I just, clear
that toroidal.
Clear my energy field and send light to my day and to all those that I'm here to meet and experience.
Yeah. So when you do that, how long do you do that every day? If you have a routine?
As long as I have. I mean, today I had 20 minutes this morning in Mount Shasta, and 20 minutes here is like much longer. Yesterday I spent an hour up in the upper meadows, just for energy. And for me, the practices are all day long. All day long. It's a prayer. All day long, it's a reminder to keep breathing, keep allowing, keep feeling, keep blessing everything we see, everything we touch.
Yeah. So being present, bringing in greater presence of your soul through your awakened cells, purified. Yeah.
Yes.
So I would love to hear a description of, let's say, a session that a beginner might go through, or not terrible beginner, but just like not somebody who's just barely breathing, but somebody who really does do the breathing, but what they might experience.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's always time to share in the beginning what's happening, what they're moving through in their lives, what they're really wanting, what might be in the way of that, whether that's in a group or a one-on-one. So there's going to be, reflection and support and safety and sacred space. And then there is laying down in a relaxed position, arms open, hands open at the sides, legs uncrossed, and using the connected breath all the way, into the heart, up through the top of the head and out until they're breathing into every part of their bodies, every cell of their bodies. And after a few minutes, energy will start to move, vibration will open up. If someone is emotional or has emotional clearing to do, they'll start releasing emotions and feeling feelings. We call our approach a gentle, nurturing, feminine approach because we're not into catharsis. We're not into encouraging yelling and screaming,
right?
Dramatizing emotions,
right?
But really to allow the pure emotion, whether it's sadness, whether it's anger, fear, bliss, to welcome the pure emotion. They might share some of what's coming up for them emotionally, or their thoughts or their visions. Sometimes people will have incredible visions will come to them, allies, guides, ancestors, grandmothers, grandfathers. They may receive physical healing. They may feel vibration through their entire body and have brilliant insights. And it's about an hour of breathing. And then there's kind of a period of integration and landing and bringing it all back and turning on their side, curling up in their own arms to feel their own love. And then there's always sharing afterwards, either in their journal or, what happened for them. And you can get a taste of it through my CD. It's a guided CD of breathing, healing yourself with breath, with beautiful Celtic Harp by Lisa Lynn, who guides people over the threshold of death through Celtic Harp.
Okay.
So it helps people go through a journey of releasing and opening.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you say, and just for us to understand how we can also do it, when you say continuous breath, could you just tell us again the mechanics of it? Because not everybody understands what exactly that means. I mean, you said breathe in through the mouth, breathe out. But why? What do you say? Because normally people breathe a little bit in and then a little bit out. But what's continuous? What's a continuous breath, and how is it different from the yogic breath?
Right. A continuous, connected, circular breath is without pauses between the inhale and the exhale, or the exhale and the inhale. It's one continuous breath coming in and flowing out. It's kind of like the ocean coming into the shore, the ocean flowing out, letting go, releasing. Or I like to see it as a child on a swing. There's no resistance. There's no forcing. There's no efforting. We're not pushing to get somewhere.
Yeah.
And in some styles of breath work, we do see more of a forcefulness or a push on the breath where it's going for intensity. Mm-hmm. It's not our style. Mm-hmm. We don't feel that we necessarily change through intensity. We might get high, we might have a powerful experience, but it doesn't necessarily integrate.
Right.
What we're looking for is a way to integrate, to embody, to ride a certain level of energy and then to integrate it before the next one.
Cool. So continuous is just different than breathing in, holding your breath, breathing out, right. Holding your breath. Like the yogic breath is.
Yeah. It's not a retention breath.
Right. Because we have other people here on the show talking about sound healing and breath and, walking us through those different stages. So I want to just have people really get clear. What does the continuous breathing do differently than when you hold it and, go into these long phases of stillness in between the breath? How is it different? And what does it do?
One of the main benefits of the circular connected breathing is that we're breathing also into our hearts and our bellies, mm-hmm. and we're accessing more of our emotional experience, more of our embodied experience. Often when we pause the breath and we go into a suspended breath, mm-hmm. we go up into higher consciousness, which is great. Mm-hmm. But we're not necessarily bringing it into the body. So not all the time, but so for us, it's about getting more aliveness in the cells of the body.
Yes. Okay. And that's how it differs. It hyperoxygenates the system and brings aliveness, and like that oxygen tool brush.
It definitely oxygenates the system. Yeah. I don't know about hyperoxygenates because we're not doing the rapid breathing. It's mostly that we're going to get a full breath, which most of us don't.
Right. That's
breathe.
Yep. And exactly it. Why our body. So my question to you is then, when you've seen people do a breath session and then build, including yourself, build over time their breath capacity, what happens with a person who's capable of handling more oxygen? Because why I said hyperoxygenation is in the beginning, people might get tingly in their hands, for example. And so, depending on how long you do this, your body might go even into a little thing of that's a lot of oxygen to handle. Over time, you get used to managing a lot of presence and a lot of oxygen. Tell me about that process. How does it express itself? What does it feel like? What is that intensifying of presence about?
Right. Well, I think the people get more brilliant. They get more creative, much more present in their lives. They start manifesting financially, they manifest relationships, they start birthing their projects and their visions and their healing centers. Yeah. And I like to just use a modern term that they come fully online.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they get to download the soul operating system instead of the egoic operating system.
There you go. That's a beautiful metaphor. Yes.
And it helps us cut through the egoic mind. Mm-hmm. So we might see more clearly as we're more conscious how the ego wants to usurp and interject itself, mm-hmm. but we see it more quickly. I like what Dana Dharmadevi, my teaching partner, says: breath work shortens the time of your suffering.
Oh, beautiful.
Always eliminate it, because we're human and we're in a powerful human experience right now, especially during these strong times on planet Earth.
Yeah.
So suffering does arise, but we move through it more quickly because we have a tool to question our thoughts and to breathe into our bodies, to feel our emotions, to get the lesson, and then to come back into love.
Yes. Okay. So that's my last question until we get into the more juicy parts of like hyperoxygenation. No, that's not the right word in your vocabulary. Deeply oxygenating ourselves into ecstatic aliveness, and how it can be taken into relationship, partnership, ecstasy, sexuality, and intimacy. So that's for the second segment, because I like the juicy part. But my question to you is, when we, let's say we encounter traumas, we hear bad news, we feel hurt, how can we handle or manage or use breath as a tool at home? Of course in a session, but when we do that, how would you go about it? Can you walk us through a little exercise? first, and then I'll ask a second part of the question?
Sure. I mean, if something is up for you, or there's been some kind of disturbing news or situation, you can simply, connect with the earth, put your feet on the ground, maybe a hand on your heart, a hand on your belly, and just take 10 connected breaths and remind yourself, you can, as you're breathing, to say to yourself, everything's okay. I've gotten through everything in my life so far. And
Yes.
there's a gift in this somewhere. It's safe to go through this. It's safe to feel this. And I'm always connected to infinite intelligence, which knows exactly what to do. It's one of my favorite Sandra Ray quotes that she gave me. I'm always connected to infinite intelligence. And when you do this kind of self-talk, it's okay. You're going to get through it. You always have. You're doing great. I'm here. I'm here with you. And you take these deep breaths, you'll know exactly what to do. You'll know who to call. You'll know where to get support. You'll know what to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, even in, I have stories from my family, because I'm from German background, who were tuned in and alive, and in wartime situations, suddenly woke up in the middle of the night, full on a light, we're leaving today, packing up. The next morning they're out. The next afternoon that town is gone. So you are always at the right time, at the right place, with all of your senses together. When you tune into the higher guidance, that higher overview that you can tap into will guide you and protect you and guard you and put you into the right places. You just have to ask.
That's right. I love the affirmation Sandra also gave me, is I am safe and immortal always. I'm safe and protected always.
Yes.
I'm safe and protected and immortal always.
Yes.
We are infinite beingness itself, and perhaps a small part of us is experiencing some tragedy, or certainly we just had a lot of Holocaust clearing during our breathwork retreats up here at Mount Shasta.
Right.
It came up for a lot of people, and a lot of people had that in their families.
Wow.
And so all of that gets breathed into and gets offered up. And you're exactly right. When we're listening, when we're tapped in, just like in Thailand when the tsunami came and the animals started going up.
Right.
And many of the Thai people started going up.
Yeah.
You can feel it and you can respond.
Right.
And even if you fall into what we call the trauma vortex, where you get swept into the whirlpool of the trauma, that's when it's a good time to reach for help, to reach for a tool, a CD, a talk like this, call another person, open our eyes and touch the ground. And then we can bring ourselves back out of it pretty quickly, especially with the breath, and reconnect to divinity.
I love how you said, put your feet on the ground, say, I've lived through this, I'm okay, I'm safe right now. Because a lot of the fear responses we experience have contract us. So in contraction, our intuition doesn't work that well. So if we expand, say, I'm safe, I'm fine, I'm breathing, I'm okay, I'm here. That gets us to the next moment of opening up to divine guidance, and then we can get the gifts, we can get miracles happening.
That's right. And it's not about suppression or a spiritual bypass, which doesn't work because it's still there.
The shadow comes back up.
I like what Gangaji teaches is just welcome the emotion, welcome the experience. Even if we want to resist it, welcome the resistance, and then welcome the sadness, the terror. And if we welcome it, it's like a baby will, or child, they'll hurt themselves and they'll cry for a few minutes and then they'll move on.
Yeah.
When we suppress it, it can go on for years as a depression, right? Or anxiety.
Exactly.
It's just giving ourselves permission to feel it all.
Yeah. I love that sentence from the Lazy Man's Guide to Enlightenment book by Thaddeus Golas. One of the key sentences I've taken with me from that book is, this too you can learn to love.
That's right. That's beautiful. This too you could learn to love. And how would love lead is one that's popular right now. Like, how would love lead me right now?
Right. And I love how you describe when you go through that trauma and you come out of that vortex, it drops you off in a field of love, and you are at a superseding space that can embrace all polarities. You can see, let's say, all the people fighting, on one end we may have, right wings, on the other hand we have whatever else, the non-rightist, the non-whitist or whatever. And And in the end, if you look at it, you become aware of soul. And that's the common ground we share with every body and every being. We all are souls, independent of the form, beliefs, or whatever we take on. So when we do breath work, when we do our meditations, when we step back into who we really are, we can start embracing more polarities instead of falling for the game plan of trying to polarize us and sucking us into the trauma, like you were saying.
Right.
Just breathe. Look.
What many people realize while they're breathing is like separation dissolves.
Mm.
And we start to realize that there's really only one of us here. Nice. in many different bodies, in many different positions. And it's incredible, especially when we do breath work in nature, where people dissolve and become one with nature, but we also become one with, as we're recording this, we just had horrific flooding in Houston, and so many people on their rooftops, calling out for help. And we see that as many people in the collective, that part that's calling out for help, that part that's feeling abandoned. That's all of us. Like Thich Nhat Hanh, his poems point to that it's all us. And when we breathe and expand our consciousness, we also add that consciousness to everything.
We add it, and we're also then called to or know what to do. If there is something where we can help and feel moved to take care of the whole. More and more so, we become a global citizen rather than identified with one color or creed. Yes. Thank you so much. Wow,
you're welcome. It's so fun to talk with you, Ilona.
Thank you. I want to talk about sex, ecstasy, intimacy, and breath work, and how you take it into your relationship.
Okay, wonderful. Let's do that.
Okay, I'll be ending this talk and see you in a minute.